Okay, looks like we are live on Twitch, and I don't know about YouTube. Looks like it. Yeah, awesome. Yeah. All right. So, hello and welcome back to the stream. I'm new to streaming, and so I have to get used to it a little bit. My name is Mike. I'm a filmmaker and a visual effects artist. I also run my own company where we make all sort of productions like documentaries, commercial, and that type of thing. I'm quite fortunate enough to be able to work on this indie film that is being made in Peru. It's a beautiful film where I'm allowed to show you the behind the scenes and the process of it. And I think we'll see if we do some interviews with the director as well, like why he made the film and the challenges of it and stuff like that. So I think it'll be really interesting to have this stream to sort of be a educational process, both on both ends of the spectrum, right? Like we have filmmaking. It's a huge beast where we have something called pre-production, production, and post-production, and a lot of the time, like production and post-production are like very very separate things where people don't really know how to work with one another, and it's just because it requires so many specialists on both ends, kind of. So it's very hard to sort of get like an overview of a movie production, and it all depends on how big the movie is, of course. But like if you do small films and big films, the smaller film you make, the more hats you have to wear if you are going to do something, right? And the bigger the film, the more specialized artists and people you have for each small little sections of post-production, right? So, and I thought like I just finished up working with a huge film, and now I got this project, which is called Basilio y el Mar. I think I will be doing some streams in Spanish and English so if you speak Spanish and you would sort of get up and you have a hard time with English, maybe stick around anyway. And I think I'll do a Spanish stream next week. I think for today I'll keep it in English, just because it is a little bit easier for myself. I'm used to working English and speak English on a daily basis, so it's kind of hard to get my mentality switch around to the Spanish speaking. But I will definitely do it in the next week. So please, stay around for that if you have a hard time with the English stuff. But so the stream is not a tutorial. It's not really, like a how-to. I'm not gonna sort of like necessarily teach anything specifically, but it's more like, but I still want it to be educational, right? So like, if you have any questions about any aspects of the filmmaking, I've pretty much like done a lot of the stuff before. So like I done like first AD with like assisting directing. I've done directing, producing, and supervising, and runner even. So I've done like a lot of stuff, and also I come from actually like an animation background. So like, and I've done like a lot of generalist roles, which means I've done sort of like the whole spectrum of CG and VFX stuff, mostly. There's like, I'm not very good at animation or simulation, or Houdini stuff, but I've done like 3D modeling and rigging and texturing, lighting, compositing, but I do tend to work, when I work on bigger films, I work as a compositor. So that's kind of like my main sort of avenue, if you will. I don't have a better word for it, but it's kind of my strongest suit, I guess. But I do consider myself being a jack of all trades. And I think I sit in a little bit of a special situation that I don't know any of my VFX friends, and artists that sit here and this position that I'm in, where I get to a little bit like pick and choose my projects a little bit, which is quite cool. It's also sometimes scary because sometimes the jobs don't come, and so it's also a strange situation. But I do get to work with a lot of different things, which is super, super cool. And I think that's a unique thing, because I think, like once you get into the VFX industry, I think people get sort of stuck with one role, right? And then they do that for the rest of their lives or for a long time. And I think right now I feel like there's a lot of VFX artists that actually maybe wants to try something different. And so like I said, this is not a tutorial, and if you're a very advanced compositor or senior compositor or whatever, I don't think you will learn anything compositing wise here, but I think you could potentially maybe just learn other aspects of filmmaking on how to, like I made documentaries and commercial work as well, and maybe how to get into that aspect as well, and what the advantages are of being a VFX artist, also stepping into production, the production aspect of it, because you bring sort of different eye sets to the industry. So yeah, with that long intro, welcome to the stream, or the video if you're watching afterwards. Again, I am. This is my first time streaming, so it's a little bit. I have to get used to it as well. So yeah, before I think I get going with the actual stream, I will just go and grab some water, because I attempt to be a talker and talk a lot while we do this stream. So I'm just gonna share. I think this should share my main screen. Yeah, there we go. I think you see it now. And yeah, be right back. Okay. Right. So, yeah, just to introduce you a little bit to this film, and I said that in the last stream as well. What's really nice is that, for almost every project that I work on, there are extremely tight NDA contracts. So it's almost impossible to talk about the films or share anything, right? So like it's not something that I usually able to. Once in a while, there's a unicorn where I get to be able, I'm able to show some of this stuff, but then I haven't sort of had the resource or the energy to sort of like stream it, because a lot of the times these projects have extremely tight deadline as well, right? So like if there's no NDA, maybe I have like 20 days to do like an absurd amount of shots and VFX, and it's like, is it even possible? And you have to like, it can become quite long days as well. So usually I don't have like the the mental capacity to then say like, oh yeah, I'm gonna try to stream this as well at the same time, while I'm stressing out about all the shots that needs to be done in a tight schedule. But we do have a little bit of a runway for this project for now. I think the director wants it to have finished by April-ish, some time there, and there's still a lot of the shots that we sort of trying to figure out how we're gonna do, and but also luckily a lot of the shots are quite easy, so there's not like it's not super complicated stuff. So yeah, but it's cool. Like it's a beautiful film. It's all shot up in the mountains, all around Peru, and they've really been like hiking to all these places and everything, and it's just beautiful cinematography as well. A lot of cool shots, and it looks super interesting. Actually, I think I saw the trailer on YouTube, and maybe you can show that. Yeah, so it's a teaser, and I think the teaser is... Whoops. Oh no, I fucked up. Yeah. So this is the teaser, and I think it's still missing some of the VFX shots and stuff like that, so it might change once again at some point, I think. But yeah, this is the teaser. I think we might as well watch it. Let me try to see if I can remove my camera, my face cam. Yeah, there we go. And yeah, let's watch it.
Jessica, nyanggal pa yung niya kasi yan. Kunang ka, kuskan po dito.
Serenata, Igushan, Hyper, Serenata, Serenata.
Amapolicho, upang maninunta, paskas pa. Pilipinto, Guru. Pilipinto, yung sinampasya, Guru Manyunyo.
Don't come back here, you Indians!
Taitawaina, imamantan peñakunki.
So yeah, it's looks amazing. Oops. Let me get the camera back here. Yeah. So yeah, it looks super cool, and I'm curious to see the final thing. I think it's been through a lot of editing right now, so I'm curious to see how the final form of the film is gonna look like with all the VFX shots. Right. So last time I managed to get to this shot, and I did work on it a little bit just off stream, and I'll think I'll just keep on trucking. So yeah, again, these are not this is not a tutorial stream. This is actually just me doing actual work, and I just want this stream to be chill and educational. So if you have any questions, just please shoot away, and I'll try to answer anything the best way I can. Yeah, so how did I get off here? I think I did some lighting for the moon, and because I noticed it was like this sort of, they probably had like a light here on the back, right? That is sort of like illuminating. Let me see if I can get my drawing stuff here. Right. So yeah. So oops. There you go. Yeah, so it feels like they have like a light here at the back that is sort of like illuminating this, right? Like behind this building. And then, yeah, it feels like maybe sort of like the main light is coming. Looking by the shadow, it's kind of like we have a light here, maybe here. But it's definitely like a top light, right? So I think I wanted to sort of like try to mimic some of that moonlight and maybe get the colors a little bit closer, but I think also maybe it might be way too big and too sharp because it's a very dark shot. So yeah, we'll see how we do this. And so yeah, so my aim is actually because we have some 30-something shots to do, right? And I think the aim is sort of to do like a quick version of every shot, so we can send them to the director, and then we can discuss from there, like how much do we need to change and stuff like that, right? So like a lot of the times we have to sort of bounce a lot of the direction. We do have quite a lot of creative freedom with this as well, which is cool. But I think it all depends like on the edit, right, and all this type of thing. So it needs to sort of bounce back and forward a couple of times, I think, before you sort of like nail the final iteration or something. So the goal is sort of to get a first version out really quick of what the VFX description is. And then, yeah, we'll take it from there. So I think I had like a little bit like a sharp edges here because I'm replacing the sky, right? And I think I just want to soften this mask a lot more. Maybe even feather it inwards, so it feels like the moonlight is hitting a little bit of the edges on the stone in the house. And yeah, I think that already feels a little bit better. Oh yeah, I think I have problems like with the grain on this shot as well. It does look pretty decent. I'm just gonna play a little bit of the shot, a little bit overexposed, just to see how the grain looks and the moon looks on the stars. Let me just get into the Twitch stream here just to see if anybody's watching. Oh yeah, so I think also something that I didn't really show last time was a little bit of my show reel, which I don't know. Like let me see if I can find some old stuff. I haven't updated my show reel, actually, my VFX show reel, for a long time, and it's just because right when I did the last show reel, I also did a documentary film, and then I got like I made a company at the time, and then sort of like all the work that has been done has been sort of through the company. And I just work on so many different projects at this point that I can't even remember a lot of the projects that I worked on, and I don't even know how to begin to to start creating a show reel for all this stuff. But just to show you a little a few of the films that I worked on as a visual effects artist. These are the films. Oops, I keep throwing it upwards in the screen. But yeah, so like stuff like The X-Files, The Exorcist, Once Upon a Time, Future Man, The Mist, The 100, Colony. I also worked on Fast and the Furious 10, a new film that I can't talk about. What else? Star Trek. I think there's a few other shows I can't remember right now. But yeah, those are mostly like VFX related stuff. And then we actually have our company page, which is this. And right now, I'm actually not super keen to show this officially right now, because right now we're going through some changes in the licensing and the screening for the documentary. So we actually don't have too much to show on the web page right now, because 2025 has changed some streaming rules and stuff that we have to read up on, and so we have to find new platforms for the documentary and renew some of the streaming licenses. So this is probably so I get asked sometimes, like, what's the most proud, or what is my favorite thing that I worked on? And actually I kind of had a little bit of a hard time answering that when I got asked that question, because in a way it was like once you work on your first film and you get like super excited, you feel like, wow, that's your first film and you're like, you made it, and you worked so hard and studied so hard to get there. But then sort of that feeling sort of fades away really quickly, and some of the stuff that I feel has brought me so much joy and fulfillment was to do this documentary with like no budget whatsoever, right? And I just think it had a huge impact on the community, and I'm just so proud of this documentary, even though the documentary is it's a little bit of a low project, super low project, no budget production really, but I'm super proud of what we did, and and the impact it had on the local area. So the documentary is always a super gem for me, and I really wish that we could make more stuff like this. And so and then this was also very exciting stuff. Again, I can't talk about anything about this because this is super protected, but we did a documentation work for Apple about their technology and stuff like that. I think I cannot say anymore, and it was like over 80 hours of documentation work. It was a huge documentation task to take, and it was super interesting and to work with, something that I never thought I would work with when I started the film industry. But it's funny because I think we got this job because we did the first documentary film, right? So it was interesting how that sort of led up to something else. So for any filmmakers out there that are thinking about making something, I really just recommend you just have to stick with it for a long time and just keep doing stuff. But I really recommend doing, I think, long form stuff. I think short form to learn stuff, like short films, right? And then once you want to do something serious, like try to go for producing something that is like plus 35 minutes, because it's a different beast, like in the sense that you need to break it out and find a story, and how do you tell all those aspects of those stories. Like I feel like this documentary I think it's 51 minutes, and I feel like we could have probably done like hours and hours upon end, right? Because there was so many things, and you kind of like have to figure out in this whole archive of stuff and stories, like how do you make something that makes sense and is sort of concise, but also gives you all the aspects of the story you want to tell. But yeah, so this is our website. Again, we have to look into a lot of this stuff and update it as well. It's been a long time, but we have done a lot of stuff, basically. Just in case you're wondering, like, what kind of work that we do, or I do. Right, so let's take a look at the grain and the stars. I think the stars are a little bit static, right? So I think I will do something where I want them to sort of, glint a little bit. I do see this red pixel here. Some negative values, probably. I would have to look at the original footage. Let's see. Oh no, it is in the original footage. That's interesting. Right. I wonder what that is. Maybe it's a satellite or something. Right, so let's see. I want blinking stars. So I'll do like a noise. And then I want to animate this noise a bit. Let me check if I'm in the right frame range. 4:07, yes we are. Just animate this to here, maybe 400. It's quite slow, it's good. And then the set, like maybe 10. That's too fast. 5. Yeah, something like that. maybe. Let's try. Let's contrast this up. Right, and we could blur this by maybe 55. And we got the stars here, right? Actually, let's brighten them up a bit. So I'm using the noise as a mask, right, through the alpha channel. And we can just maybe gain, yeah, let's gain it by 5 for now. And then you see that we sort of getting a lot of the darks and the sky, and I'm not only interested in stars. So I'm gonna do another key here where we sort of pick up the stars. Only. Yeah, something like that. And then I'll use this to mask that. And so, and then we wanna only grade the stars. And so let's see if we see a little bit of a difference. We might need to boost the alpha a bit here. And then maybe blur it a tiny bit, like 5. Let me check Twitch here. Yeah. Gain. There you go. Yeah, there we go. So now we are brightening some of those stars, and I think I will try to sort of animate like a curve, or just say like, you know, 4 here, 100 frames in. We don't want them to be so shiny. And then maybe up to 5, and maybe 4 here, 7 there, and just keep it at 7. And then we let the noise do the rest. So let's take a look at how I would animate the stars a bit. Alright, it's almost done. And I think it's very subtle, you know, like once you scrub through it, you can sort of see how they sort of illuminate a little bit. And I think it's subtle is good, so I think we take it. So what else about, yeah, I feel like the moon is a little bit still like cut out-ish. to me. So I think it's also probably way too big. So let's make it a little bit smaller. So what do I have here? I have I think that's the luminance stuff. So if we take kind of like the light it's giving out. Actually, let's copy. This. Maybe 2 or 1. 2 maybe is good. I think that feels nicer. I think. Now I use the exposure here just to get like a sense of the sort of the colors, right? Sometimes it's a little bit hard to see. I think it's very clear to see that this is a blue light, right? But then we do have like this greenish light here with this green moon, so you can sort of see that they kind of like belong in the same color stuff, but then it doesn't really do that over here. So I think I'll try to just probably go somewhere in between the two, and yeah, and maybe also just desaturate the moon a tiny bit as well. So I'll make it, oh, that's not the moon, that was the stars. I'm just gonna delete these. Oops, that was black and white. Let's try 5. And maybe what do we have here? Also a desaturation. Okay, so let's delete one of them. And then I'm just gonna do a grade here. It's a little bit sluggish. And I'm just gonna pick this color here, and I just wanna bring it back into its normal value, but then I just wanna desaturate the color and sort of like find a good like a balance here, something like that maybe. So once I bring the colors back, now it feels like a little bit more like a black and white maybe. Yeah, it's interesting with moons, right? Because moons can like inherit so many colors depending on like where you are. Like they can be like blue and yellow, orange, red. I mean, it's it's fascinating with the moon sometimes, right? Right. So where are we here? I feel like there should be a little bit of a more intense sort of light source, like right around the moon, but not too intense. It has to be extremely subtle, and I think I did something here for the light coming in. And so I think I will do like maybe I'll take this over here. Oh, my computer gets stuck a little bit. I wonder it's because I'm dual streaming to Twitch and YouTube. Like, I don't know. I hope the stream looks good, because what we do here is a lot of pixel stuff. So yeah, please let me know if you pop into the chat, or yeah, if you're watching, please let me know if the quality is bad. I'll try to look into it. Right, so I think I just want to make this moon a little bit bigger, and then maybe just do like a directional blur. So I'm just gonna split into two and do maybe like 100. Yeah, maybe something like that, and then just do a regular blur as well, and then put that as a light source on top of everything. Plus, yeah, but not that intense, so we take it down maybe to like 30%. Yeah, so it's very subtle. I think that's better. Right. Yeah. Okay, let's see how that looks. We play a little bit of it. I was overexposed a little bit, so it's easier to see in this night shot. Alright, let's play it out. Anyone in the chats in the stream? I guess not. Well, there seems to be someone watching. So yeah, feel free to say hello, ask anything if you are in the chat. I'll appreciate anyone being here. It's I guess more fun to work and hang out with someone at the same time. Oh, okay. The stars, and maybe I think we might need to adjust our noise pattern a little bit, but I kind of like the light source from the moon that I put in there. I think like it definitely helps a lot more to sort of like make this area more believable. Like it's a combination, maybe a light source from the building and the moonlight, right? So yeah, I kind of like that. And but yeah, let's see, maybe adjusting the size of the moon, the position of it, is something we can talk about with the director as well. But as a first version, I think this is probably not too shabby. I kind of like the stars. Actually, I might have to adjust them a little bit. Maybe they're blinking a little bit too much, and they're maybe also a little bit intense. So just take them down. I will do that right now, actually. So maybe taking down the curves here just a tiny bit. So maybe the maximum value, I think we put that to 7, right? So it's here. So if we take the value down to around, I don't know, maybe half that, right? So the maximum value gets to be like 3.5, 4-ish, right? Yeah, something like that. Okay, yeah. You know, I think... Do we have noise in this moon? Should have a lot of noise. Yeah, there's definitely noise. It's hard to see, but, you know, has some noise. I'll adjust that once we get closer to some final stuff. Yeah, it just feels... I think it's too much in focus, maybe. I think, like, that's what makes it feel a little bit cut out-ish, right? Like, it's... We see a lot of the details here. So I think we need to just blur it a tiny bit more. Maybe pump it up to like 14. Yeah, something like that, I guess. Maybe also just a tiny bit smaller. So like, let's try like something like that. Just maybe a little bit more. 17. Defocus. You know, I'm gonna try to put on some music, working music. Oh no, I lost it. There. Okay. Yeah. I think that's better. Alright. I think I'm just gonna leave the shot here for now as the first version, and then we keep on tracking. Format, we do reverse color treatment. Ooh, okay, so there's something. I think maybe the moon might be a little bit too intense. Yeah, so we have a lot. Yeah, it is a light source, right? So that's a tricky one. I think I might need to gain down the whites on the moon. It's just something that I noticed now because I'm doing sort of like a reverse color treatment at the end here, right? So they once I'm done with the FX, they receive the shots in raw color space again, and so whatever color stuff they put on it in the edit, it shouldn't break too much, right? Like it should be extremely flexible because it's in the... If I do my job well, they should be quite integrated in the image, so they have flexibility and the color treatment at the end. I don't think it would cause any problems in this project in particular because you know, for some shows, I remember when I worked in the 100, there was such a intense color space for it, where the blacks are so crushed and negative values and all that stuff. So that has like such a strong sort of like color correction to it, which makes it super hard to work this way in that particular project. But because this film is quite natural looking, They're not using like any wild color space or anything like that. I basically just want to give them as much flexibility as possible for the color treatment as possible. And I think this way, it's simple for everybody to do it this way. So that's what we're going with. But so what I just detected here is like when I reverse the color space here, I have to disable this before I render, and I feel like the values of the moon here are like standing out quite a lot. And in this case it's tricky because like the moonlight is a light source, and it's bouncing the sunlight off it, right? So it becomes a very hot spot, especially at night if you're filming it. So it should sort of like blow out a little bit, but it also, I do have to sort of marry it into the image as well. So at what point, right? So I'm like gamma down just to see like I still have like some stars that are stronger or more intense values, the moon obviously, and then we do see a little bit of the back here. I don't know if you can actually see it in the stream, it's really hard to see, but it has some white values there as well. So like the most intense values, or the highest intensity values from the plate are I think it's this area here, which is not much, right? And it's very low light conditions as well. But I think I will just take down the moon values just a bit, just a tad. Yeah, maybe like 0.15. Maybe I need to do more even. 25. Let's see the difference. I think we can go higher. So let's try 33. Okay. 1.5. Yeah. Yeah, now it feels like they belong better in this color space here. So if I take a look at it through here, yeah, now it's still intense, but not nearly as intense as it was before. And we still see like these highlights here. I could probably get away with making it even less intense, but yeah, let's do 66. Yeah, let's go with that, and then let's talk to the director about it at some point. So let's just do black outside for this and get a shout out. 5 version 1. Yeah, so usually we have like very extreme like naming conventions, when you're doing like multiple sequences and stuff like this. But just because I know that it's just like 30 shots for this film that we have to do, I don't have to do like I don't have to necessarily like break it up in sequences and stuff like this, right? But it usually is very important, like if you get to work with a film, you need, a film is like 2 hours long. You have all these sequences and all these shots within the sequences, and so you need to have like a super good folder structure for this. So it really depends on the project that I'm working on. Sometimes actually a friend of mine and we made a folder structure tool, or like a project tool that would sort of break out like the folders, and it will create like a whole new folder workflow for you and stuff like that. I think we did it for Linux at the time, and I don't think I saved it. I don't have it on me right now. I switched to Windows for this previous job that I had, so I haven't added it back, and we probably have to rewrite it for Windows as well. But so keep in mind, like, this is a very simple project, and that's why it's just a very easy naming convention of 30 shots, and we just talk about them as we go. While it's rendering, I might take the opportunity to go to the restroom real quick. Also, I have almost no battery. I forgot to charge my battery on my camera, so I think it runs out after a couple of hours. So it means that the camera will shut down. And I'm charging up new batteries. We'll see if I can keep the camera on for the whole stream. But be right back. I'll just gonna go pee real quick. Alright, so while it's rendering, what can I talk about? Yeah. Oh yeah, so I noticed on the first stream actually that I think a lot of people were coming in and out, because I do have like 97 subscribers on this channel, and I wanted to treat this channel more as a guilty pleasure stuff, where I just did stuff about Star Citizen, which is this game that is I think super cool and super interesting. So if you are actually some of those subscribers, because I think the guys who subscribed to the channel are probably more interested in Star Citizen than this. It's also something that I would love to talk about. Like I am a little bit of a tech nerd, and have followed up technology a lot, and I think the sort of the workflow and between films and games are very similar sometimes. Like a lot of the processes. Obviously, exactly compositing is not. But then you do have this modern way of compositing, I guess also like through Unreal, right? Like you sort of change atmospheric fog and like post-processing features in the game as something you usually do at the very end of the game process as well. So you kind of do have it. It's just very similar or very different. Exactly, just with with my line of work with film and stuff, but and film and games. But I think it's interesting to sometimes talk about Star Citizen, because they are sort of like making something quite incredible in the technological area, right? And I think it's super interesting to follow up on. So if you pop into the stream of you wondering why I'm making films all of a sudden, this is actually just because this is actually me, and this is my daily bread type situation, and I'm lucky enough to share it this time around. But yeah, I will also love to talk about Star Citizen if you're interested in that, or any other games really. I think game development is super interesting. I did think about, when I started studying, before getting into the film industry, I always wanted to work with games, and I have worked with a couple of games and prototyped a couple of games. Nothing major, just really, between friends and schoolmates, just to sort of like, do something fun, So, but I always wanted to actually, in the very, very beginning, I was like, I was a huge Battlefield fan of like the first Battlefield game, like 1942, and Battlefield 2 and stuff like that. That was like, I always thought like, wow, if I could work with that game at the time, that would have been amazing. But I was just, I wasn't. I had a lot to learn at the time, that's for sure. But yeah, I think there's a lot of similarities between the game industry and the film industry, and so yeah, if you curious about it, my thoughts, or anything about the different aspects, I could maybe explain it or talk about it, if that's interesting to you as well. Right, so it finished rendering. I think I'll just leave the shot here as is, and set it here to review on the list, and start with a new one. So let's see. Okay, we are finished with that. So we are making, I'll skip this one for now. That shot, I think it's gonna be a little hassly. I need to do some look depth into this one, so I'll skip that one for now. Then I have, I have a night shot here, so I'll do that one. Yes. Okay. Missing some shots on the list. Oh yeah, it's here. Okay. No, they're all there. Okay, yeah, sorry about that. I was double checking that everything is there. Right, so let's do shot 12. I'm just gonna open up the template. Comp template, there we go. And I think it's Whoops. So it's this shot here. And I did a little test here, so I'll probably take this, see if I can save myself some time. I did this super quick, so I'm curious to see how that applies to the other shots. Wait, why am I watching like... Oh, these are the templates. Oh, I think I accidentally saved the shot in the templates. I have to clean up the template a bit. Oopsie. Yeah, so I'm just gonna delete this. Delete all of this. Then I can save this as a template. There we go. And then I'll save this, close this. Check this in. And then I need the shot as well. Right. Now I'll make sure to say this straight away as shot 12. Seems like I already did start on this a little bit. Shot 12. Let's open it up. See what I done. Okay, yeah, so already seem to be started on this at some point. Yeah, I think I just did exactly what I was about to do, which is just putting in the test setup that I did into this. So actually I'll just close this without saving, and then I'll just continue from here. So let's see. Let's take it step by step. We're looking at the grain first. Let's swap out the music. I don't know where I left my phone. Well, doesn't matter. We're streaming now. Okay, so let's see. Yay, it seems to be working on this shot today. Okay, great. Then, yeah, let's take a look at it down here. Right, so for the night shots, I think we will have to treat this whole thing differently, right? Because I'm basically manipulating so much on the shots. Next here. Okay. This is probably. I wonder. Oh yeah. Let's make sure we are in the right project settings. 4K, 145 frames, 145 frames. It all set up. Right. Okay, so just doing a lot of color stuff and keying. Seems like I'm selecting the environment, and I have a ramp. A little bit of white point, so like making it feel it's sort of like illuminated from above, I guess. I'm darkening down the bottom. Just trying to catch up with myself here. So Laura is asking, how long does it usually take to work on a shot like this one? For a night shot? Yeah, it's a good question. I think they can be super tricky at times. It all depends like on the like what's happening in the shot, right? And like if there's people as well and stuff like this. But just because we are looking at nature here and there's no camera movement at all, it's quite easy to isolate like the water, right? Like we can do manual masks that can separate maybe a little bit of the foreground, the midground, the background, the water. So this one shouldn't take long to do at all, actually. But yeah, like it really depends. Like let's say if there was a character in the foreground in a nighttime shot, then you would have to roto and mask out the character and separate him and make sure to treat his whites and blacks different and stuff like that. So it's a little bit of a look depth thing as well, right? Like depending on the style of the film. But yeah, but for this particular shot, it should be quite fast to do, actually. So that's also what I've sort of done here, right? Like doing this little templatey thing where I have done it for I can't remember which shot I did it on. Let me see. Yeah, I think I did it for this one. So for this shot, real quick, just to like test it out, right? And so I think there's a little bit of adjustments to do in the colors and the masks, and it should be it. But maybe like an hour or so with a little bit of pre-work done to it. Yeah, so here I sort of like also manipulating the light a little bit, right? So here I'm doing like a little bit of a ray here. I don't know if you can see that, but because we have like this light coming from the plate, right? So kind of like making this a little bit brighter, so it, like the lighting makes sense from the light change that we started doing. But yeah, but it's very blue, right now. Oof. And the grain is not looking too good here. So let's take a look. Okay, let's fix the grain to the very last thing. I need to copy in the outputs. Oh, yeah, shut down the other script. Yeah, so I think I'd like this mask that we have here. Yeah. So let's see how that looks like. Yeah. Probably push this a little bit more. 5 or something. And what does this do? Okay, so this is like star stuff, and we don't need that for this shot, so I'll just delete this. And let's see what we got. So I don't think I will touch the blacks too much. Mostly like the color, right? Kind of like the light there. Yeah, bringing out the water back out, right? And then the final color grade. Maybe it can be like 40 or something. So I think I've done like a lot of like a very, very blue thing, because like at night, basically see a little bit of blue, but the colors almost feels like a black and white type thing, and also I'm not really sure how the final grade is gonna look like for the shot. So I'll try to mix in some of the colors back in here at the end, I think. So Laura is asking, is it standard better to work with the raw clips or with the CC version? And does it matter? Sorry for screaming, I was a mistake. Yeah, so usually actually we would have like 2 different like outputs. Again, it all depends on projects, right? There would be like here where I have like my outputs into 2 different things, because the client would usually like to view it as close as to the final project as possible. So there would be like color correction and stuff like that from the edit here, right? So it would like match whatever they have going on in the color or the edit, and then we will deliver like a raw version where they apply the whole thing into at the end. So I think it really depends on like how intense the color correction is for a movie to work on the color corrected plate. I think almost that's never really the case that we work on color corrected stuff, but we do have to sort of like treat it the color space, which I'm doing here, right? Like, so the raw image is coming in, and then I'm converting that red log into Rex 709, and then I'm doing a very basic grade here that are then reversing at the end, so it comes out back raw to the client, right? So yeah, it always depends on productions. I could imagine working on something like Blade Runner, for example, where they have very, very, very strong colors on the final thing, right? Where everything is just orange or everything is just like blue or something like that, or like super strong color. That's important to work in that color space, to integrate things a little bit better into that color space when things are sort of like pushed a little bit to the extremes, you know? Yeah. I hope that answered your question. So you show the client a CC version, but you deliver the raw version, right? Yeah, exactly. So usually we deliver like both versions, right? So like they get like a preview on a HD usually type format, and then they get the raw version, if you will, like at the full scale. But then, you know, it depends on the show. Like when I was working on the 100. I think there we were working on the exact color space, and we delivered on the exact color space. So they were not getting any raw clips back, I think. If I remember right, it was many years ago. But usually for films, that would sort of be the workspace, just to. Yeah, I guess the bigger it gets, usually the production and how fast the production is, because a show is also a little bit different, right? Like you have a lot of deliveries on a daily basis, a weekly basis, and sort of like they sometimes you almost work right until the episode airs. Sometimes can be the case, and a film is not really the case, I think, like. Because they need to prep a bunch of things before, but you know, you heard stories that they worked until the very, very last moment anyway. So yeah, I hope that made sense. Thanks for asking the questions. Yeah, so I think what I want to do here is probably, you know, do something called maybe a key mix, just to see how it looks. But I just basically want to mix in the original bag in here. And yeah, the mask is just like the whole thing, right? So I can let's just shuffle out a white canvas here. Yeah, there we go. Mask it by that. And right, so I don't have any colors on the plate. So I should probably try to really push like the colors and the contrast out here. And I just basically want some areas just to inherit a little bit of this original color. So I'll try to mix that in here. And maybe actually let's do like a 30%, and then only sort of like take the highlights a little bit, so we get like a little bit of a sense of the color where the light sort of hits. So I will actually try to key out the highlights here, the luminance values. Yeah, exactly. So this is like where the light hits the most, and that's where I want to introduce color, original color back in. And then yeah, maybe just you know, I can mix it up and down here, and maybe only mix in like 15%, something like that. Maybe a little bit more, like 25. Yeah, it does look a little bit green and like sunlight-ish, right? So maybe I just want to desaturate the color a tiny bit, and also maybe the contrast could stay there. I feel like the shot could really benefit a lot from like a mist, like being a little bit misty, you know. I think that would be kind of cool to put in there. So I'm just checking, you know, to see how the colors feel like. It does feel a little off to me, so I think I go back to 15. Yeah, so I think contrast is probably a little high on the highlights. Makes it feel like it's back to daylight. Yeah, something like this. Yeah, I kind of like that actually. So let's see. Yeah, there was a graining problem, and I think it's because we are changing the colors so much from this color space, right? And then we are doing all this treatment. And then reapplying a noise that doesn't really match that color space. So I think we have to do we have to do something about this. I want to try to use the original grain. I wonder how it looks if I don't denoise it at all, actually. Yeah, I think might be better to do that since we're not really implementing anything into the shot. It's not something really that I have to worry too much about. So I think for the night shots, I think I might not denoise it at all, actually. And yeah, just have it to look like that. So we got another bot today asking questions on Twitch. Best viewer on stream, Bo. Yeah. Okay, let's take a look at it. Oh, I mean, that looks quite good. Maybe I feel like maybe fixing a little bit the like these highlights here somehow. So yeah, actually I think maybe taking down the highlights here like this, these light patches, I think they are a little strong, right? And maybe also for the water. So let's see, I think we had some areas. There was the beam, this was the waterfall. Yeah, so it's gaining quite a lot. Maybe we can half the gain here to like 1/6 or something like that. And then let's see if we had anything picking up on that side. Not really. I think it's on general. Yeah, actually. Let's take that mask with this and say we want to isolate. I don't want to affect the waterfall anymore, right? So I'm gonna take the waterfall mask that I have here that looks like that. Oh, actually, I don't want to take it from the luminance. I want to take it directly from the roto, so it looks like this. And then I want to say, like, I only want to affect, the highlights on this area here. So to do that, I'm just gonna then stencil out the waterfall. So that way, I cut out the waterfall, and now I'm only affecting the highlights on this end. And so what we did here is that we can now take these colors here and gain this down with this. Let's see how that looks. Yeah, exactly what I want. So, but I don't want to push it down too much, but I just want to take it down maybe like down to like 75%, something like that. So we get rid of those like very high like highlights, I guess, or like midtones. And let's try to key mix that in here, right? So let's take a look at the difference. And so now we can maybe mix in a little bit more of that, and then maybe desaturate this by 50% as well. It does feel maybe a little kind of like this green blue, I guess. So I think I will also do just another grade here at the end that is gonna multiply it by that blue tint we have here at the back, you know, like this one. And then I'm just gonna take up the value and just control very carefully the saturation. So is it better to shoot during the day and then make it look at night in post-production? I can see how you can get more details in that way, but sometimes it feels off, like it's fake. Yeah, exactly. I think actually if you would shoot on actual nights, right, like you a lot of the time get I don't know, the other shot that I was working on, I don't know if you saw it, right, like that was like this one, for example. It's also a nighttime shot, right? And basically, like, you don't have any information. You barely see this telephone pole, right? And sometimes that can give you a quite flat image, and you also need really, really strong lights at night, right? To actually, you know, have the front part here illuminate and the actor, right? And you basically don't see anything else. So I think like it also depends on the planning on the shot. Like I think the plan is to have like a beautiful sky, like night sky here or something like that. Then it's perfect because to shoot it at night, because it's so easy to mask out the foreground and the background, right? So it's very easy to put anything in the background here and just key her luminance value as a foreground element. So it makes it a lot easier to separate elements in this case, for example. So, but you're right, like I think a lot of the times if you want like very sort of like beautiful images where you see a lot of the shots, even though it's kind of like dark time, it's also a very artistic choice, right? Because we could push the boundaries even more for this. But you're right, I think always you'll be able to tell a real nighttime shot and a fake nighttime shot, if you will, right? Because the sunlight just bounces a lot way more on a real shot. So but I think, you know, it really depends on the style you're going for, and I think you can achieve something similar, but it's a really good question to ask. It's I think trying to think about like some examples where they shot daylight and, you know, did all the stuff post. Can't think of any movie or shows right now, but I think I would say like 90% of the time they actually do that, right? Like they shoot it quite bright, and then while you have some light, and then they darken it down in post. Just because it's it's so hard to extract details otherwise if it's too dark. So let me show you. I was just working on the other shot that was in this one. So here is a perfect example of like how there's like no information in the shot, right? And because the values are so dimmed, it's also extremely hard to pull any values out of this information, right? So like if I wanted a very, very like beautiful range of colors and values on the wall here, it would be difficult to do in a image that contains so much black, right? So it makes it super hard to extract those values. But if the image was brighter, it's much easier to then manipulate, right? So yeah, I hope that was a good answer. I think. Hope that makes sense. I'm not 100% sure, but it looked like to me that the new Nosferatu movie was filmed during the day. Yeah, I think so too. Like 100%. I think like a lot of their... Yeah, that was a good example. The new Nosferatu movie is definitely shot with a lot of light, for sure, 100%. I think there was a few sequences in there where it was quite dark, where they basically just had like one light source, and it was just like one sequence that I noticed was very dark compared to the other shots. But it was the I can't remember his name, but the male, when the dude visits Nosferatu in his castle, and then they're like talking at the dinner table for the first time. I think like some of those, if I remember right, I think some of those night scenes were just basically one light source in the room, and they just left everything else to be quite dark naturally. But yeah, you're right, like a lot of the night scenes were like out in the forest and out in this, and like nighttime during doing the city, like running around the city and all that stuff. That was definitely all shot quite bright. Yeah, 100%. What a great movie that was, huh? Nosferatu was, yeah, what a beautiful film. Beautiful film. It was refreshing to watch. We should watch the Herzog version, you know, good old Herzog. Man, what a pleasure that would be if to talk to Herzog, you know, like I think about Herzog and David Lynch, and it's like, oh man, it's such a shame that Lynch passed away recently, and yeah, I hope that could be cool to talk to Herzog. Just interesting filmmakers. I think I'm mixing maybe a little bit too much in here. You know, the night shot looked fake, but it also an artistic movie, so I can't say I didn't like it. Yeah, exactly, 100%. Yeah, it was super cool. Artistic choices for sure. Yeah, I was about to say something and I forgot. Oh yeah, exactly. So you were asking about like the how long the shots take to do, and I think actually I want to just tap a little bit more into that, but because I think as I was talking at the beginning of the stream, like the production and post-production are a little bit like a two different beasts, and sometimes I think a lot of the production people don't know what goes into post-production and vice versa, right? And so I think working on shots, it surprises people, I think, a lot of the time, because sometimes you work on months and months and months and months, and you watch the same frames like over and over and over and over again during months to just get like one shot really well and really good. But usually it also depends on the shot, right? Because the shot could have like a million elements, or it could have just a singular element, and stuff like that. But yeah, so it's I think it's a common mistake from the production side to assume a lot of the effects doesn't take any time to do, or it's fast. And it's also because like sometimes the big studios, they work super fast and have professional like like the people who work at big studios are super talented, and everything is super streamlined, right? So like they're super fast at getting some iterations going, but it needs to a lot of the time go back and then redefine the model, redefine the textures, redefine all this and this and this and this. So we do like it's common to do like 100 versions of the same shot before it's ever done, and a shot could take months to do if the client is not happy also, right? So just to dive a little deeper into your question there before, like how long does a shot take? Sometimes it's hard to say, right? Like as a first version, to just look at it and talk about it doesn't take long, right? But maybe the director hates it and he wants to have the tonality in, maybe he wants this and that, and it could be one of the most difficult shots at this time. I don't know, but just to do this, it took me a very little time to set up, and then now I'm tuning it a little bit for this shot, right? And then that could take a couple of hours with a couple of hours of beforehand, right? So I think in total maybe like 4 or 5 hours for this, and then as a first version, right? And then we'll see where it goes from there. I haven't watched Herzog's version, but now it's on my list for sure. Yeah. Is there no limit on how many versions a director has gets? No. I don't think so. There's a limit when there's a limit. I mean, because we do a lot of internal versions, right? So like, there's no usually real limit in a big production. So we usually just like keep building internal versions, right? So like I would do like, oh yeah, I need to fix this, and maybe I oversaw a lot of stuff, and then the lead would catch like a few things, or maybe I was named for the meetings as well, right? So they would like know exactly, or like, oh, maybe they forgot to mention about this small change as well. And so so just internally there will be like a lot of versions bouncing around before it goes externally, and then the client would see very few versions initially, right? Because we have like a lead and a supervisor that sort of gatekeeps a quality and make sure that all the notes and all the elements are in there and stuff like that. So internally there's a lot of versions, and externally there's usually not that many versions that the clients see. So, but yeah, it's crazy. So like sometimes, I think the worst shot that I worked on was like almost 300 versions, and internally, right? And then I think maybe the client saw maybe around 40 or 50 of those versions. I think that was just kind of like one of the worst shots in terms of like versioning and prolonging the shots, right? But I think it's normal to like reach around 100 versions. Again, it all depends on the shots. I think the fun shots for me is always the ones that gets done quite fast, like maybe within like 10-20 versions or something like that. Great questions, by the way. Okay, so I'm just gonna try to overexpose, make sure that I'm not clamping like any of the blacks. Right now I kind of like this, what's going on here on this shot, so let me get the drawing in here. Like, I like how the dark deep values are like around here, maybe a little bit of this as well. Right, so it feels like this is more like a foreground, right? And then this is more like a midground stuff, and then background here, and also this is like midground, background. So it feels like it breaks up in layers in terms of the dark values, right? Like these values here are a little bit darker, and then they get a little bit brighter. But I think also it's kind of like the mist, sort of like from the waterfall, that it sort of like gives that look. But artistically, like that's, if you would paint an image, that's also an approach that usually you always do, right? Like you have the darker values in the front, and then as you go further in the shot, the lighter values you have in the back to create that atmospheric depth, basically. But yeah, this is looking pretty good. This is a little bit overexposed, so this is how it would be from the coloring that I have done to the shot. And I think it's looking okay. I think there will be like some more tweaking to do with these highlights, I think. I kind of don't mind them up here, but I feel like they're stand out here for some reason. I think it's like maybe the sharpness. 'Cause this is like softer, right? But I think like color wise it's all on the same space. Value wise is also there. Yeah, I kind of like it for now, so we'll see. As a first version, I think it's looking pretty good. Yeah, so for this one, actually, yeah, I wonder what I'm gonna do with this, because I don't wanna. I have to make a note for myself here. Yeah, so basically so tricky with this one. You have to figure it out how we're gonna do it with the editor and the colorist, because I do treat it here. So do I want to reverse it? I guess I do want to. Yeah, I'm gonna keep the reverse treatment in there for this shot, even though it's highly manipulated. But yeah, I will check it out with the director afterwards and see where we go from there. So if you just joined the stream, welcome to the stream. I'm working on an indie film called Basilio y el Mar. It's a film made in Peru. It's very beautiful story and a beautiful film shot all over Peru. So I don't know if you've ever been to Peru, but I've traveled there a couple of times. And it's beautiful. Peru has some of the most beautiful landscapes, and it's also divided in a very interesting way, right? Like Peru has like these mountains, and then you have like, you know, the coast, then you have deserts, then you have Amazons, and so it has like all of the things in the same country. And it takes even though when you look at it from a map, it doesn't look like it would take long to go from one place to another, but because everything is just like paved roads and bad roads and stuff like that, it takes forever to go from place to place. But it's a beautiful country to visit if you ever go. Definitely recommend going there. If you don't know where to go, consider Peru. But yeah, so making this film, it's quite cool because I get to share it. Usually I don't get to share film work or any commercial work, really. Two reasons. Is mostly because it's a time-intensive thing, and also there's NDAs. But for this project, we have a little bit of time. It's not super heavily on the effects, and there's also no NDA contract, so it makes it way more open to collaborate with the film, and so I'm taking care of like all the visual effects stuff for it, and then I get a little bit of help from Edith to do some of the shots as well. So yeah, so we are like basically two artists on this, but yeah. If you have any questions about filmmaking or special effects or anything like that, please just let me know. I've been in the industry for a while and have tried and done a lot of different things. And I'll try to answer questions as well as I can. It's not a tutorial, it's just like a chill work stream, but I just want it to be a little bit of educational as well. If people were wondering how to work with film and special effects. Right, now that it's rendered out, let's see what else I got here. Yeah, we watched the trailer before. I'm just gonna shut this down. And let's see. What do we have on the list? Okay. Oh yeah, okay, so this is a fun one. Wait, let me just update the status for this. So yeah, let's see. I have four. Actually, because I think I already worked on that shot, I'm gonna skip into the next one. What time is it? It's 4, so I've still got like a couple of hours. sorry, I'm taking a while looking at all the list here. Just checking all this stuff. So there's like 2 shots, and I have done one of them. So let's take a look. Let's say this out. Oh, I forgot to actually reformat this. So let's take. Let's open up the next one, which is shot 22. So there. Okay, so yeah, for this shot it was just adding the stars in the background, and then there's another one that is pretty much the same shot where the one already oh, what do you call it, like when a star falls, or what do you, I forgot the word for that now. Nah. Yeah, what does that call it in English? Totally brain farted that one. So let's see if I can find the other shot. Reformat this into HD. And then reformat here. 4K. There we go. Did I do a version of this? It looks like. Looks like I already did. Oh, there's a camera movement. Yeah, I remember this. There's a little bit of a camera movement and everything. I think, did I do a 3D cam or 2D cam for this at the end? 2D. Yeah, so I think this one's pretty ready to go. Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. Cool, so I think I have to do the next one, which is 23. But I have to find the first shot first. Overview. Let's see, stars. Yeah, these are the 2 shots. It's 22. Okay, this is the long shot. This is like a 1500 frames. And then I need to do another one for this one. So this is the other shot. Great. Take that out. Color space, and then let's say this as 23. Right, sorry about all this managing stuff. It's distracting to stream and everything at the same time. Yeah, exactly. So Laura's asking, a shot like that one, is it better to film at day or at night? I'm guessing that it's better to film fire at night, or it doesn't matter that much. No, I think for this I would also prefer to shoot on a nighttime, um, just because you could have the fire be the primary light source a lot, right? And you could probably also have like a light behind the scenes, like in front of the light here, that is maybe illuminating red at the scene, mimicking the fire, maybe, like if there was not enough light, because I think it's also it can be hard to illuminate actors with a flame, but you know, it's been done before, and it's a red camera, so the reds are very good at absorbing light. So here I would I would definitely shoot this at nighttime. I think it will make it moodier. I think if you would shoot this on a daytime, I don't think I think it will look completely different. Yeah. Are you going to mimic that? What, the fire? No, I don't think so. I think for this shot we are just doing stars in the background, and we are doing an estrella fugaz. You know, like that's oh man, I totally forgot the word for it. What is it when you have a star falling? Damn, what is the name for it? I remember in Spanish and Danish, but I can't remember in English. God damn it. What is it called? Star. Shooting star, that's right. That's right. Thank you. Yeah, totally brain fart land. Thank you. Shooting star. Okay, so before I got started with this shot, the other shot did have camera movement. So what I will do is first to, again, just watch the shot, put in the right frame range. Oops, there we go. And yeah, just to see if there's any camera movement before I start doing anything, just to see if it needs to be tracked. I think the battery on the camera is running out soon. I'm just gonna check on the other batteries so I can get the camera up and running if it goes out. So yeah, just be right back. back in. Okay. Yeah, let's wait out the whole shot just to make sure there's no surprising movement at the end or the beginning. Yeah, anything we can talk about while it's rendering? Oh yeah, so actually I was talking to the director as well, and there will be, I think we would do like a workshop of the film, and also a workshop that will sort of stretch out over 6 weeks, where we would be sort of like way more like an introduction to Nuke and visual effects, and maybe I'll show like a lot of like different tricks what you can do, like where vector generation and stuff like that. So it'd be like introduction to a lot of like maybe cheap VFX that you can implement to your films, and but also maybe taking a deeper look into one of these shots. But we sort of like still in the planning process for all of this. We don't have anything set in stone yet, but we're talking about doing a more official sort of like mini course, masterclass, if you will, looking deeper into compositing and what you can do with it as a filmmaker. It's usually also something that I've done a lot for like film institutes around different places around the world. Done it in Denmark and Qatar and stuff like that, and I think that's sort of like the unique angle that I think I have compared to other visual effects artists and directors. Maybe it's like having this sort of like a combination or coming from an animation background, I guess, and like how you make cheap stuff look expensive, if that makes sense, or like how you can make very complicated stuff that looks complicated but it's actually quite achievable nowadays. So but yeah, it's something that we still trying to put together. I think I'll probably announce it at some point or more officially here on the stream, and I think also it would be in Spanish, just to reach out to the Spanish community. So let's take a look at the shot here. Looks like it's static compared to the other one. Yeah, complete static. So I don't have to track it in like in the other shot. So that makes my life easier. So let's see. Yeah, it's taking out the noise. Good. We can delete all these notes. Yeah. What else? Would it have English subtitles? The course, you mean? Or the film? I think for the course, we'll just do it in Spanish, I think, as it is a collaboration with the Peruvian Film Institute. So I think we keep it just in Spanish, for the course. But for these streams, it's it's just a work stream. So I think I'll do a day English and a day Spanish, and yeah, so maybe we'll see where it goes. I'm like really on, don't know how to where to take these streams actually. Just kind of like going with the flow. And we'll see what comes out of it. But yeah, I think like an interview would be super interesting. And for the interview, I think the director is like way more comfortable in Spanish, right? So maybe we do some subtitles for that one. Yeah. Right, so let's kill the track from the other shot here, and let's see, then we have the stars. Yeah, I think it's already color corrected and everything like in the other shot. So just keep it like that. And then, yeah, probably have to adjust the mask here. So what's happening here? I'm multiplying all that stuff. Oh yeah, but since it's not really moving, I think actually I might just do a very simple roto shape. Oh. Cool. Oh yeah. Okay, so let's expose this up. Let's make sure that I'm not masking the wrong thing. So I think I'd keep the roto a little bit tighter in the roof, and then do a little bit of like keying stuff to get like these hairs, like these straws. And the mask. Yeah, let's see how that looks. Let's invert that, and yeah, I want to feather it a little bit. Yeah, maybe that's fine to feather. Let's try to do a key. Oh, actually, I think that was what I did up here with the other shot. Yeah. Oity. Right, so I'll take this out, and I'll do something like that. Maybe blur this a bit. We get a little bit more precise mask for the house. like these stars are like behind the straws. This is just like a couple of pixels, but you know, we are pixeling here. Yeah, I think I will just keep it like that. I don't know. Okay, so these blacks. Oh, it's actually like in the plate. It seems like these deep blacks. So let's see how that looks like when we watch it through here. Yeah, something strange going on with the stars. Is that the key here? Blur. Well, that's just the image. So I think we do blur them just a tiny bit. Something like that. And then a shooting star. Yeah. A shooting star. Fix the format. HD. Right. Shooting star. So how do we do a shooting star? I would probably, you know, it's a white dot essentially, but why not take just a star from this image. Let's feather it like by 3, something like that, and clip it out. And you know what? Let's do this as well. Where we key it, something like that. Oops. And pre-mold. Then we have only that, right? Tiny star. I don't think I have ever done a shooting star before on all the projects that I worked on. So there we have it, and then we can move it. So I'm not really sure. Maybe you should move one day. I think there's a moment here where the actor is sort of like looking up, and I think it's a beautiful moment that he's like reaching out here. So I think like, yeah, the timing of the shooting star should maybe be, I don't know when he starts like glancing up at the stars. But maybe it should happen like right as he looks down, maybe, and they have like this moment. Now we'll see if we need to change the timing on that to match it better to what the director has in mind. But at least for my storytelling, I think that would be a good moment to put it. So I just keyed all the I just keyed all the stuff, and now I'm just moving the center point of the transform. And I think I'm gonna move the star out because we don't have much sky to play with, I guess. We wanted to have it come out of the screen, and then shooting stars are so fast. So let's focus on this area here and see how that feels. So I'll put the frame on 320. Let's try to put it like on 10 frames. You know, that's like almost half a second. And then try to put the star, you know, have it fall around here, and have a little bit of a curve. So once it reaches the middle, it should curve something like this. So that would be sort of the trajectory of the star. So let's see how that looks like. I think that it's not too bad actually. I think once we add the light trail, could be looking quite good. So yeah, so let's make it more visible by gaining it up, maybe just by 2. And yeah, how do we do a trail here? How do I want to do it? Like technically the reason why we see it is because it's like a motion blur thing, right? So let's just see what we can get from the motion blur, but and then let's mask the house and let's have a look at it. Yeah, I mean, it's not too shabby. I think we will do I would like it. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty good actually. We change the shutter speed. We change the length of it. So maybe like 0.8 or something like that. And I think I would like to have it glow up a little bit. Let me take up the brightness, but yeah, it's glowing the whole streak, which is not. I would have to look at some reference actually on some shooting stars. Because they do glow, but like I wonder. I wanted to have it like glow quite a lot in the front, right? So So that gives it a overall glow, and then I would probably just duplicate, so this point, I think I would just duplicate the point let's see. Probably just duplicate it from here, maybe. On top of this, and I'll have it be a little bit bigger. We plus it. Something like that. Let's see. Yeah, it's not gonna create any stronger core. There's so many ways to go about this. I was trying to think what sort of like the best way would be, but I think technically I could just take the same glow, duplicate it here. So instead of merging it here, I'll have this, and then the motion blur could be I'll plus it here. Let's see how that looks like. And now I can shorten, basically kill the motion blur on this, right? And then I can maybe retime it with just one frame, or like an offset time off set, and then offset it there. But then maybe we can do a little bit more motion blur. Oops. Yeah, it's not really working out the way that I thought it would. I guess the easiest thing to do would just to give it this shape and the look right here. So I'll try another method just to delete all that, and then I do another roto here that I'll then combine into this. So we know we want like this shape, right? And I think with the motion blur it would sort of like drag it out, this main shape. So we'll do something like that. Oopsie. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, let's try to see how that would look like. Then no clip, and I actually just want this to be I think I just want this to be white, so I'll take in a white, and yeah, yes. Oops, click that. So let's plus it, and then we can maybe control the intensity a little bit. Let's try just 0.5 for now. And then, yeah, maybe also soften the mask, right? So like doing something like this. And let's see how that looks motion blurred. Okay, not as I expected. So we have this. Oh yeah, it's maybe because of the direction of the rotation. So yeah, so we need to fix the rotation from the beginning. So more like it's traveling, something like that, right? And so once it comes in here, we wanna delete this key, adjust it to fix the trajectory. And then let's see this one, delete and fix the trajectory. There we go. So now, if we go back to the motion blurred frame, put up the shutter, I think we have to be a little bit more extreme with the shape. To really get that sense of like a little bit of a hot core on the like on the tip, right? Maybe also draw that cone that we did back here, make it a little bit bigger. So let's see. So if we actually do the opposite, do it bigger. Oh, we don't want a bounding box. No, I think my camera just ran out. Just a moment. Okay, the cam should be back up. Right. Yeah, I don't have much power on the current barrel here in the camera, but yeah, let's see how long it takes. I might I'm gonna continue a little bit more on the stream. I mean, it's just me mumbling really and working which I think is just really cozy actually. So I mean, if you fall into the stream or the videos, if you see it afterwards and you want to see what's happening, I am basically working on this indie movie, and I'll be doing that for the next couple of weeks. So yeah, if you stumble upon the video somehow and watching at this exact moment of the video, I will be streaming 2 o'clock GMT +1 every day for the next couple of weeks, for as long as I can for the project. You know, we do a bunch of things and a lot of work with different type of things, and we have a lot of meetings and things. So I have sort of tried to schedule off my this 4-hour work session to be able to stream it, just because it's new and it's interesting. It's something that I don't get to do ever. It's my first time streaming, so it's also fun to try out. But yeah, so if you're interested in filmmaking or VFX, I think this will be an interesting stream for you to watch, and feel free to ask any questions. All right, I just keep on mumbling over here. So right now I'm just trying to figure out how to actually make the best shooting star possible. I have actually never sort of like made a shooting star for a film before, so this is actually new to me also. And I think that's sort of like the part of filmmaking or VFX that sometimes is interesting, right? Like, so Nuke is a what do you call it? Like is a node-based it's node-based scripting, that's what it's called, right? And sometimes it's like looking at all these nodes, which makes it look it's nice for an artist to be able to look at these nodes and look at the connections. It's something you have to get used to, of course, but actually, like, all these nodes is pretty wild, right? But like, they are all code, so I can actually copy that directly from the software, and we can put it into a notepad. And you can see the code. Well, I am using Nuke Indie, so Nuke Indie is sort of blocked. Keep forgetting about that. I'm very used to work with other companies where they have their own pipeline and infrastructure. But when you work Nuke Indie, like in this case, you can share the code. But usually you will see the code from all those nodes, and yeah, that would be. It's very useful because you can, like, share it with the rest of the team and so on and so forth. But exactly in this case, we are not able to do that. But it's an interesting fact and the power of the software, right? So yeah, that's why it's called node-based scripting, right? Because it's basically nodes, code, bunch of code you're putting together to make all these effects happen. And yeah. And so talking about creativity and VFX, I think sometimes, so creativity is interesting. I think for me personally, I think it depends a lot, right? Like, personally, I feel like, having now a lot of experience in the field, I feel like the bigger you go, I think in the beginning everything is sort of exciting, right? Like, you're learning everything, and everything is sort of exciting as you learn. But then I think the creativity, you sort of very quickly fall into this, as an artist, you fall into like a routine of fixing the impossible, that's what I call it, right? Like, where you basically have to, like, remove this character in the background, you have to do this, and and you have to do a bunch of things, and that can be sort of like it doesn't feel necessarily like creative work, right? As if, but it didn't. Again, it all depends on the shot and the project. But I think that the usually the bigger the project, the film, the less creativity you have, right? Because you would have like a bunch of other artists making all the assets for you, and you as a compositor, you putting all the things together. But you every line, every color, everything is all chosen by your leads, your supervisors, the director, and everything. So at the end, you don't have like much. It doesn't feel like you actually doing creative work, if that makes sense. And where there is a lot of creative work is when we do like music videos, or sometimes like even commercials or indie films like this, where the director would give a description, and I'm sure like we all have like different interpretations of it, but he's also very open to like having us to sort of try to figure out what would look the best also, right? And so he's open to for the creative input, and that's really cool. And usually working with like music video, music videos are usually like silly and very abstract, and sometimes like what makes them fun is the bad effects also, right? So so it really, really depends on the project, but it tends to be, like I find more creativity in indie projects or music videos, commercial, that type of thing. And then the bigger films, it's not so much about creativity. It's really, about pixel fucking to the perfection, right? And that it's a very like it's a very different sort of like mindset somehow. As a compositor, I'm curious to hear like in the comments in the future when a compositor, if a compositor ever finds this second in this video, like what are your experiences and how do you feel creatively in the industry, right? Like if you still find like, do you find like creative gratification working on big films? That's basically my question, right? So yeah, sorry about the rant there, but I think it's just an interesting topic to just rant about and talk a bit about. But yeah, in this case, I think it's fun to work on, right? Like I get to do a shooting star, whatever method that I find sort of useful, and yeah, fast and efficient is also nice. So yeah, it's interesting stuff to talk about. Definitely not giving me what I want here. I think I have to change the way it sort of drags out the motion blur. I mean, that's actually, I think, centered, starred. I think the starred doesn't really work. I think we want end actually, but then it looks like crappos. Yeah, so let's see. I think I have to change the shape of this. Maybe bring back in the feather here. Sorry, I'm listening to music. I'm sorry if that is a little bit loud on the stream. I hope it's not. Let me take down the volume here a little bit. So if we gain this up, yeah, cool. So let's see how that actually looks like. Now it's a little bit intense, but I just want to see how the movement feels. And yeah, the shape. Pew! Feels like a laser. Yeah. Yeah, definitely need to fix the shape. I would like it to be a little bit longer, probably like twice as long. So let's drag it out here. Let's put that to 75 and then see. Yeah, maybe this shape. I wonder well, how it would look like if just make it bigger. Yeah, maybe we should just use this as a very subtle. And then really blur this as well. And I just want like a little hot core here, and maybe have a little bit of a shape, right? And so we do have basically this, but I just wanted that to be stretched out somehow. And so I think what I do is I actually take the same, but without the motion blur, and I'll put that on top. Now I should get what I'm looking for. Yeah, exactly. So that was actually exactly what I wanted to do. So I'll probably plus this, right? And just maybe give it like a tad motion blur. So little, like, you know, something like, yeah, maybe something like that. Maybe it's a little strong, so we can maybe, you know, mix this down by like 30%, and then we can maybe boost this one up just a tiny bit, so we're just gonna multiply it just by a tiny bit, and then maybe blur both. Yeah, it's not too shabby, not too shabby. Let's take a look at it. Let's see how that feels. So, anybody in the chat? Any questions, anything like that? Doesn't seem like anybody's watching. I think that's quite nice, actually. I feel like the hot spot here, it's a little, maybe, yeah, maybe make it something like that, and then we wonder how it, yes, a little bit more glow again. Now I want sort of like the tail and disappear a little bit more. But I think it will just be, yeah. I think the way I would do that is that I would take this and, oh, actually maybe even take the glow, manipulate all channels, just boost it up, just to have as a mask, and then directional blur to like 100, and I just basically want to blur this again, and maybe not so much, like something like this. This would be soft, and use this as a mask so it kills a little bit of that tail, right? So now I have like a bubble taking a look at that, and maybe I can like, yeah, full blast the blur, just the directional blur a little bit. Maybe 100, maybe even 50. No, so back to 100. Maybe also I want this to be, has to be like tiny difference. I basically want to scale this a little bit to like 0.01. Whoa, that was 10. 0.1 is what I meant. So let's see the look. Okay, maybe that was too tiny. Yeah, that's looking pretty good, I think, actually. But now I want to scale it down. I think it's a little big, probably. I want it to be a little thinner. Let's have a look. Yeah, I think it feels like the core is a little hot, so maybe taking down the core just a tiny bit. And where did we have the core? Yeah, we're not manipulating the core. This is the core. Let's take it down just a tiny bit. Maybe like down to 70 maybe. With and without. Maybe even more. Maybe half of what it had. And I guess if I wanted to make it a little, but like a little tinier. Put it here, right here. And say like 0.9 9 maybe. 8, 5. Let's try 0.9. See how that looks. Okay, doesn't make it super tiny. Point 8. What if it's like 0.5? Ooh, yeah, that looks quite good actually. And I think maybe enhancing the motion blur for the length, but then maybe yeah, exactly. Maybe I don't want to be as aggressive on the tail mask, so I can do like 200 here. Should be able to see more of it. 300. Ooh, yeah. Ooh, yeah, that's beautiful. Let's see how that looks. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good actually. Maybe just to give it like a little bit of a glow at the very, very end again. Now, I know it's a little bit messy, all the notes, but you know, if it works, it works. Yeah. Let's see. It's too bright. So yeah, I think like 1, something like that. Maybe. It's like 0.1. 2 plus. Yeah, I think that's, I mean, it's pretty good. Yeah, maybe I think once you see it in motion, it looks good, but if you hold it on the frame, it's like, you know, it looks decent. I mean, maybe a little aggressive on the glow, right? Like, especially because we have the other stars to compare to. So I think, you know, let's meet in the middle. So we mix the glow by 50%. And then I also kind of want to give it a little bit, like just a subtle. We did take the color from the star, but we do have, it's quite white because I used a white background here. I just wanted to have like some kind of color here. So I can control the intensity a little bit as well. Now it has this little bit like a purpley look to it. Oh yeah, that looks good. I like that it's actually thinning out there. Yeah, that looks really good. Yeah, I don't know if I want to do anything more to it. I mean, it's a little bit of a chromatic aberration, but like, it's so subtle, especially on a knife shot. And let's see how the chromatic revolution looks like. So actually, yeah, another thing to keep note if you're watching. So I'm not installed a completely clean Nuke version. Sometimes I actually work from Linux as well, but I switched back to Windows just for the ease of use of many other applications. But I wanted to do the stream with no extra notes, or like just also to show, like, I feel like, you know, like every show has like some in-house notes that are developed for their tools and stuff like that, and I think because I work with so many different projects, sometimes I can't rely on necessarily a bunch of notes. And also, like, I haven't built my own like pipeline structure for a lot of the projects, because we're a very, very, very small team, and I feel like just using Nuke as it is like plenty powerful, so I don't need like all the fancy notes that you can get, but there are very, very good notes out there, and especially if you go to like Nukepedia, it's a really good place to find a lot of notes if you need a lot of like notes to do something specific. But for this stream and for this project, I wanted to just keep it as native as possible to Nuke, and so I just gonna, again, I wasn't gonna do like a tutorial type thing, but I just wanted to show like the old school of doing like chromatic aberration. That usually you would take a shuffle of the three main color channels that we have, right? So we do something like this, and then shuffle out the different colors. So we do kill all the connections here. So we have the red channel, and then let's name this red. And then we do green. Kill this. We do blue. And then now we have them separately. So usually we wanna transform them, but now we separated the different color channels. But now if we plus them back into each other, we get the original look back, right? So we just did split the color channel so we can manipulate the chromatic aberration, which is usually what happens with chromatic aberration, is like one of the color channels. Now it's very hard to see in the shot, but you can tell like this as a blue line here and a red line underneath the hay, right? So that would be like the color channels splitting. And again, it really depends. Usually it splits a lot more when there's a brighter image, so it's very hard to see here, but you can actually tell here, right? Like on the highlight, so there's a purple line and then there's a green line, so that would be like chromatic aberration stuff, right? And so these are the stuff that you want to look at and then mimic to integrate the shot even more. So just because it's kind of like a little bit flat-ish, I just want to do a little bit of chromatic aberration. So looking at this, and then let's actually mimic it from I don't know, I guess red and green. Right, it's difficult with highlights sometimes because they will like bounce light a little bit different. So it'll be good to watch it from somewhere else. So chromatic aberration usually happens like at the edge of the screen. But you know what? Yeah, so we have the opposite colors splitting on this end. But I think I will mimic... Let's mimic this a bit. So we got like a purple and green on the top and purple on the low. So let's take a look at the shooting star here, and then we want to have the red move down like move down, sorry, like -1 pixel, and then the blue to get the purple, and then we get the green on the top, right? So that's basically the chromatic, but it's quite extreme, so I think we do half that, so we go 0.5 pixels instead of -1 pixel. Let's see how that looks like. Yeah, it's way more subtle now. I hope it's watchable on the stream, because it's again it's very tiny pixels and dark shot. But yeah, there's a little bit of a chroma into that. Yeah, I still feel like it's quite powerful. Maybe half that again to like 25 and -25. Okay, I think it's... I don't know if it's even... if you can actually see it on the stream, but now if I kill the chromatic aberration, put that on, but you can tell like a little bit of a purple hue like on the bottom of it, which I think it's, again, subtle is the key here. So yeah, let's take a look. While it's rendering, so what do we got? Nobody in the streams. I want to just boost it up a little bit more, and then I'll think I call it on this. So I think I want to maybe gain, because they tend to be a little bit bright, right? So maybe I boost it like twice as much. I guess it feels a little big, right? But yeah, I don't know. Does feel quite good. So yeah, I think I will just. Maybe just a little blur. One more pixel of blur. yeah, I think that's it's looking pretty good. And yeah, we can always change the directory and the color and the intensity in the future, but I think this is pretty good for a first version. So let's get this one out and let's check the difference. Nice. Yeah, that's perfect. Perfection. Right. Let's get this up. This is shot 23, version 1. That's fine. Render out. Oops, no. Climb outside, there we go. Render. Right. So just gonna stretch my legs for while it's rendering. I'll be right back. I would probably have to do something for the stream so people know if I'm gone for just a bit. Yeah. Well, let's see. How do we do this? Sticking out. We say like be right back. 150, and then it's pretty clear. Okay, be right back. Alright, so while that's rendering, should probably look into the next shot. Yeah, so we got these two done. And we have all this. That one's done actually. What time is it? Alright, I'll be ending the stream in half an hour-ish. I still have a little bit of battery on the camera. So yeah, we'll see. I think, yeah, you know what? I'll do look into the shot because I haven't looked into this one in particular at all, and I'm quite curious to see if I can get something going for it. So yeah. So let's see. Shot 32. Okay, let's wait for it to render. Okay, so it's almost done. I keep forgetting about this black. Sure, this is the one on top, the old version. Right. Let's delete this. Save this. Let's see. So it was. Let's check out the overview here. Sorry, my dog wants some attention. So let's see, that one's done. Is it this shot? No, I don't think it's this shot. 32, I don't think I have identified you. Is it one of these three? No. Let's take a look at these. So there's like some stones in the background. I think, yeah, this is the one that I'm looking for. Which one is it? Is it this? Yep. There you are. Okay, that's rendering. Let's just save this and shut this down. Open a new one. Contemplate. What do you want? Alrighty. Got the template, we got the shot. I don't know if can you actually camera? You can. You won't. She's a huge dog. Yeah. We'll go out soon. Oh. All right. Okay. Okay, let's say this as shot 31. Oh, I do have a version of it actually. Let me open it up. I don't think I worked on this one though. Maybe I just prepared it. Okay. Oh, this is another shot. Oh yeah, my bad. Yeah, it's not 31, it's 32. So we're good. Good. Oh, sorry, I missed a couple of comments there, Laura. Nice, he's come back and it's looking quite good already. Which shot were you looking at? Where did you see the one with the shooting star? Can you show the before and after? Yeah. So let me see. Oh, was it the night shot or the shooting star shot? I guess there's a little bit of a delay on the stream. I had to figure that out. So if in case you were asking about the before and after of the nighttime shot, then it's like this, right? So this is like looking at it quite raw, a little bit with color. So this is the actual kind of like footage, and then convert it into a nighttime. And for the shooting star shot, I just closed it down, but I can reopen it again if that was the one you was asking about. Right, so let's see. This one, the description says add a big stone. Yeah, so I think they just want a little bit more depth into the shot, so it looks like I guess the haze didn't really allow them to sort of to give a sense of space, I guess. So yeah, so I think I'll okay, so this is stuff that I love, right? So this is super fun to do, I think, because it's about making the shot work here. So I think let's see if we can. Okay, first of all we take the noise and then we see how we handle this shot. Okay, the noise is working, the denoise, and let's take a look at this. Let's boost the color just a bit more, maybe like 75, and then the contrast added up to 8. But so so I love the type of effects for this shot. Also, I should make sure that there is no camera movement and do the frame range. So this one is, yeah, 2. There we go. Good. Right. Should check if there's any camera movement first, or if there's any obstacles. But so yeah, for this shot in particular, actually, I think it's quite fun to do, right? Because here I think it's about like a sense of space, and the mist was probably like too dense, right? I'm pretty sure they're pretty high up in the mountains here, and so he just wants to add like big rocks in the background, like behind the mist, to give it a little bit of more depth. And I think it's a perfect shot to do something like that in, and a very cheap visual effects thing to do, especially in these circumstances, because we do have already like huge rocks here we can cut out. So like we can take this rock, we can take that rock, and we can like rotate them a little bit, and we have this rock as well, right? And we have like a perfect reference for like how this is supposed to like disappear in this mist, right? We probably want to do them a little bit visible, but the range of mist here we can play a lot with, right? Like we could make sort of a mountain silhouette even in the background or stuff like that, which will give make the shot way more interesting than they were probably able to capture at this moment, right? So this is I think what's fun with visual effects, because I'm pretty sure like these are things that you're never gonna really notice or see once you see the film. But it's also very cheap to do, because there are stones in the plate that I can use, right? So let's say you shoot a similar situation, but there's like no rocks in the foreground that I can take. Then a good idea here would be like either to shoot or photograph like rocks that you can sort of put in, or of the actual environment. It will make a compositor's life a much easier time for me to do, right? Because if I would have to find a rock and then sort of paint it, and I'm not sure like what type of rock that is, but it looks maybe like something like granite or something like that, right? I would have to make sure that sort of the rock sort of fits the environment and so on, and that could cost a lot of work on my end, just when it could have been photographed and documented on the set, right? But in this case, it's perfect because we have rocks we can steal, and is way easier to deform and play around with. So I think this shot is a fun shot to do, especially because we get to sort of like create the background. So again, it's a locked off camera, which is super nice. I don't think I have to track anything at all. I don't think there's any movement. So what I'm doing right now is called like scrubbing, right? So something you usually do to see if there's any like movement, because sometimes when you see it like frame by frame, you don't really notice it. But when you scrub, you kind of like see elements of the shot that you otherwise would have a really hard time seeing. And I really don't see anything move. There's maybe like a tiny movement around here. can see at the bottom of the edge it's moving a tiny bit. So maybe I should do a 2D track for this. But I don't think I would have to actually, especially if these rocks are going to be in the background. So I'll do it without a track for now. I don't think I need to. Trying to analyze this to see if I can get the movement, but no. No, I don't think it will be necessary. So, cool. So yeah, so what I would do first, I'll take, I kind of like both rocks, so I'll probably take one of each. So what I'll start up doing here is to cut it out. What happened to my music? Nice, it's bang on. Oops. Alright, so, oops, that was a bad point to start with. So I want to try to be as precise as I can, but be quite fast about it. Doesn't have to be perfect, as I'm probably gonna manipulate the silhouette of the rock as well, right? So it's okay if I cut off some stuff, like here the rock goes off, but I don't have to be super precise about it. It's basically something like this. So what's cool is like I can just cut it out like this, right? And then I would also do a frame hold on it, just because the guy is actually walking, the actor and the llama is walking through it. So in order to not have that, I'll hold the frame here, cut it out here, and that way I have a clean rock to work with. Yeah, and so so let's see if I can key here. If I can key some of the luminance in the background. To get a little bit of like depth. Oops, sorry. Looking at the alpha here, so I'm trying to just see if I can get like atmospheric depth for free. Since it's shot on a red camera, we have a lot of like bit range on the image, right? Which is very nice. And then basically want to mask the foreground and the background. Probably do like different masks all together, but now I sort of separated the background and the foreground. So let's see if we take this rock and then we can take the center point. Let's move it something like this, and actually let's put it like that. That would be fun to do. And then put it here, and we mask the foreground to it, and the mask might need some adjustment, right? So let's do a little bit of exposure correction here, just to see what is actually going on. Watch through the note down there. Yeah, and then let's blur this. Maybe by 15, and then see if we can readjust. Yeah, something like that. Now it's about just putting the the rocks in a good place. Yeah, here I would probably, just think about like what would make the composition interesting. Which again is something that in big films I would not probably ever get to do something like this. Like if there was a similar shot, I would probably not like get to choose like, oh, I can have a big rock here and a rock here and a mountain here. Like all that is sort of like predetermined by higher ups or art directors or the director itself, etc. Which might also be the case here, which is also completely fine. Like the director had something in mind for the rock formations and the composition. It's all cool. But I know that working on indie films, we do have a lot of freedom for this type of thing, right? And so here's where it gets. It's a little bit more fun, I think. It's way more smaller teams and more collaborative in that sense. So yeah, I will see. I will probably play around with a few rocks of the same rock, also, just to see if I can create like an interesting composition, maybe. And so at this state, I'm just playing around really, and yeah, just to see like if I can do something interesting here. How we make this shot look a little bit cooler, Maybe we can make this quite big. And I might have to sort of adjust the mask for each rock depending on where they are as well, right? But for now I'm just playing around with the compositional stuff. And also I might have to change a little bit the silhouette of the rocks so they're not too repetitive, right? So we don't get a feeling we're just copy pasting rocks. But I think this could be quite interesting to do something like that, and then blur this. This one. Maybe like 15. Yeah, just for now. I'm trying to figure out how many rocks we need to duplicate here. I feel like, okay, so let's see, this one maybe got a little big maybe. So if we then take this, maybe play something like that. Maybe something like this. I think we could adjust it already by the skier. We can sort of already push it into atmospheric depth, and then I would just have to like defocus, so just blur. It's a little bit cheaper. Maybe do 10 on that rock. Rock in there. Yeah, let's cut out the other rock as well. So I'll take another roto shape. So clip, cut it out, and just put it in. Use the mask for now. And then transform so we can move it around. Yeah, so the silhouette's not super interesting on this rock cut that I did. So I could do like another roto pass on that and you know, cut it a little bit more interesting. So yeah, so it feels more like a rock, but we could maybe hide that like here, and then yeah, do some blur on it. I mean, it's already like, I mean, this is just like placing 3 rocks super quick, right? But I think like it's already looking really cool. Like from this to that is already like giving a little bit more like a spatial, you know, like a spatial, gives it more depth, right? Which is quite cool. I probably want to actually push this one sort of be closer or further away in the mist. And I think so this is a really fun shot actually, because we can, you know, when you're painting, you're painting in depth as well. It's all about the, you know, the ranges, and this is going to be like a very, very subtle manipulation of every range of the blacks, right? So like the blacker something is, the closer it is camera, and the further away, the brighter it is, right? So it will be like a very, very subtle manipulation of each value to, you know, to push them in space and create more depth, basically. But yeah. I feel like, you know, I feel like he would have walked this way, so I'm wondering how the terrain would sort of look like. You know, we want sort of like the rocks to maybe point at him somehow, you know, to create like lines that would sort of direct the viewer's eye a bit. So I think this rock, I would maybe have it being here, you know. Oh, and then maybe rotate it like this. You know, so like, let's see, if I draw out some doodles here to sort of illustrate what I'm talking about, is that, you know, with the composition, it's interesting to create like these lines here, right, from the rock, like all pointing at our point of interest, right? And so I think he walks this way. We have like other lines that point to him, right? So I think it's interesting to sort of like create thinking about like how we could create more rocks that would, again, not distract the shot at all, but just enhance it and help the story and help the composition of it. So that's kind of like how my thought process on that shot about the composition. So maybe, let's try to take I kind of like that rock back there. So that's super subtle. Let's take the same rock and make it huge. Alright, and then let's see if we can create like some kind of mountain. I would also be we would have to put this one first, so this one gets to be in the back and then that one in the front. And I think for this one, I'm just gonna try to place the overall shape first. Something like maybe something like that, right? Keep the sky open and stuff, and then I'll take this one in and I'll stencil, meaning that I will paint out the silhouette a little bit, and I will just chop at it and see if we can play with the shape of it a little bit. How cool is that? That's pretty fucking cool. Alright, let's make them all live on all the frames. And this thing is pretty neat. And we can even, really needed to push them in back in the atmosphere, we can like take it down to like 30% opacity. It's also a way to do it. Yeah, I think we would change the silhouette of that rock as well and stuff. But you know what? I am reaching my 4-hour stream. So I think I'll just keep it here and I'll continue with it on Monday. So if you reached at the end of the stream or you watching the video at the end of the video afterwards, I am planning to stream every day through Monday and Friday from 2 o'clock GMT +1 to 6, which is my end time right now. So if you're interested and you didn't catch the streams before and you want to catch future streams, make sure to join on Twitch. It's Arcanian37 on Twitch, or YouTube, it's Arcanian TV. Thank you so much for anyone that has popped by today and for the questions, and also thank you for watching the video afterwards. As I said a couple of times throughout the stream, I usually never get to share any projects because of the NDA contracts and stuff like this. This is an indie film being made in Peru, and I get the opportunity to sort of show behind the scenes and to talk about it, and hopefully we do some interviews with the director at some point as well. and yeah, more people that are involved, maybe with the editor and stuff like that as well, just to talk and educate, what it takes to do a film and stuff like that. And yeah, so hopefully it's informative or educational in some form, even though these streams are not meant to be tutorials or anything like that. It's actually a chill stream with me working as I would work on them offline. But yeah, I just thought it would be interesting to have people to talk to, and also to have it be a little bit educational, I guess. All right, thank you so much for watching, and catch you on Monday. All right, thank you very much.